Welcome to Link Up, a new show designed especially for Bulldog parents and caregivers like you. Link Up is your virtual connection to the people, stories, and news you can use from around the Olmsted Falls School District community. Link Up is brought to you by the OFCS Link Family and Community Engagement Program. LINK stands for Learn, Inspire, Nurture, Know. The Link Up series will feature topics and people that will help you learn how to do something new, inspire you, share ways to nurture your children and yourself, and keep you in the know. Link Up is hosted by Julianne Allen, that's me. I'm the Link Coordinator for Olmsted Falls Schools and a Bulldog parent. I'll be joined virtually by special guests from our school community who will share their stories, knowledge, and expertise and answer my tough and not so tough questions. You'll get to know more about your school district and have a few laughs along the way. Well, looks like everyone's here, so let's get to it. It's time to link up. Hi, everybody. I'm Julianne Allen, and this is Link Up, a show for Bulldog parents and caregivers where I connect you with the people and the stories from all over the Olmsted Falls School District. I have some very special guests today who took what little free time they have left at the end of the school year to stop by. And not sure how long I have them, so we're going to get going before they escape. All right, so joining me today is a trio of fourth grade math teachers with awesomeness to spare. First, we have Mrs. Laura Connelly. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Julianne. I'm so happy to be here. This is my first year teaching math. I was a language arts teacher before this, and I have to say, even in a year of COVID, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, and now we have Mrs. Kelly Judson. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Judson, and I'm a fourth grade math teacher. And I've been in Olmsted Falls for 15 years, and I've always taught math, and it's my favorite. I graduated from Olmsted Falls. 2 of my 3 children go here, and we're so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Mrs. Sierra Swanson. Hi, Sierra.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Sierra Swanson. I have taught in the district for about 13 years. I started actually at high school and jumped down to 4th grade and have been in math ever since. And like Kelly, it's my favorite too. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Okay, wait a minute. We have another special guest. The one and only principal of Olmsted Falls Intermediate School. He's been there since the beginning. Mr. Don Svec. Hi, Don. Welcome to Link Up.
Oh, Julianne, that's quite an opening intro. but I thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Don Svec. I'm the principal here at OFCS. We affectionately refer to Olmsted Falls Intermediate School as OFCS. It just seems to roll off the tongue a little better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to get my calculator out and add up all the years I've been here. And so we're at 17 years in Olmsted Falls, 3 as assistant principal with Mr. Kurz at the middle school, and then another 14 here as the principal at the intermediate building. We started off on Fitch as Fitch Intermediate School years ago, but that's now the ECC. And then we built this wonderful building. I think the first year was 09, 10, somewhere in there. And we've been here ever since. So thank you. Thanks for having us today.
Sure. I'm so glad you're all here. And like I said, I know it's end of the school year. Thank you. And we're just trying to get by at this point. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and to talk to our parents. So today's episode is titled The Facts of Math and the Intermediate School Transition. So we know that leap from Falls-Lenox up to OFCS is a big one. We want to make sure our parents have the information that they need to help their kids get ready for that. We're going to talk about some resources and ideas that parents can use to help their students brush up on their math skills this summer. And we'll talk a little bit about the transition from Falls-Lenox to OFCS. So we're going to start really talking about math. So I've been reading a little bit about something they've called the COVID slide, which basically it's the idea that maybe potentially students have lost a little bit of maybe some of the skills or the learning that they might have gotten this year had we been in a normal school year where we were face-to-face in school doing everything as we normally do. So we've got 77 days, not that anyone is counting, from the last day of school to the first day of school for students. Now, I know teachers have, and principals, I don't know, you probably have like 5 days, right, Don? I don't know, you don't have that much. We can use our summer as a way to do things in a fun way that maybe helps our kids catch up. Okay, that was a lot of talking for me. No one cares what I have to say because I am not a math teacher. We are here to talk to Laura, Kelly, and Sierra, and eventually to you, Don. They're all fourth grade math teachers, and I'm counting on them to help us all feel better equipped to address this stuff. Okay, so Kelly, what would you say is the most important thing that parents can do with their children to prepare them for fourth grade math?
Julianne, when you asked us this question, I think we all at the same time said math facts, math facts, math facts, and more specifically multiplication facts. So from 0 times 0 all the way up to 10 times 10, even 12 times 12, but up to 10 times 10. And kids never have to be the fastest in the class at them, but certainly knowing them and knowing them at a pretty good pace is really so important. And we talked to the third grade teachers on one of our professional development days, and they said the same thing. And we talked to the fifth grade teachers who are right down the hall from us, and they said the same thing. So we're very confident in starting off our conversation by saying that. Last year, obviously, and this year, obviously, felt and was so compressed. And there were so many other things that needed to be focused on too. And so, we try to focus on the important things, but it's hard to get it all in. I know the fourth graders this year missed the end of their third grade year, and that's often when the third graders focus on multiplication facts, and we all noticed a bit of a difference. The best way is probably pretty old school to memorize those facts. And again, memorizing as many as possible and being as quick as you can be. And flashcards are really a wonderful thing to do that. There's tons of games online as well, and they can be in a flashcard mode. I know there's something on my phone for my kids to practice addition and subtraction, and eventually when they get to multiplication. But flashcards are great. We had even talked about if you can get your kid to do kind of a pretest, a sheet of math facts, and we'll have some links at the end, right, Julianne?
Yeah, sure will.
So links to some of those online games, a link to a website where you can print off a worksheet if you want. But to do a pretest at the beginning of the summer, maybe a test in the middle of the summer and a test at the end. And I think spending a little time each day, your kid would surely see some improvement. And that's always so motivating. So I think flashcards and it kind of works on all of that number sense stuff, being comfortable with numbers, being able to estimate because you know what an answer should be, all of those things. So should I finish, other teachers, ladies, with saying it again? Math facts.
Yeah.
All right, math facts. Woo! Well, this makes me feel better because I was that parent that would print out. I would make a photocopy of whatever they brought home when you would have the sheet and you'd have them at the top that you got right, and I would print those out and I'd have them like throughout the summer. I'd say, okay, we're doing your times test or whatever it was. But it was an easy way. It was quick. It was like, okay, why you eat your cereal? Go through this. And, maybe I was just making myself feel better and they were just getting through it. But I do think it's paid off. So just a follow-up question about the math facts. You said you don't have to be the fastest at them. But if you see students maybe that are really, really struggling, I mean, how does that impact their ability to kind of learn those higher level math concepts? If a student can't like at least somewhat quickly recall some math facts, how does that impact them?
So in fourth grade, we do multi-digit multiplication, we do long division. And when a kid has to think so hard about every single step, it's really hard for them to be able to think about the process. when it just becomes very overwhelming. And I think that gets compounded in fifth grade too. Fifth grade is, they do lots of fractions. Even finding equivalent fractions is really difficult if you don't know your facts. So I think if kids can memorize most of them and do it pretty quickly, it really makes them feel less overwhelmed, and they're able to focus on the process. And that's really helpful.
And I would say, even in addition, it just helps them have confidence in math class. If they know that step, then they're ready for the next one. And it kind of sends them. And when the kids who aren't so sure get stuck on the math facts, then it really kind of just brings them down.
Okay.
That's why we all said math facts, math facts, math facts.
That's something that we can all do. And then I feel better too when I remember my math facts. But once I get past like 13, 14, I'm like, wait, just a minute. We can all use practice. Okay, so we're gonna kind of move on and talk a little bit more about how we can, beyond math facts and in addition to math facts, what else can we do? So I know that, as parents, sometimes we can kind of fool our kids into doing things that maybe they don't think are fun, but we can kind of make it seem like it's a really great, awesome time, like eating your vegetables, or like, hey, let's put on your socks. Woo! Things that are kind of mundane. Laura, can you help us? Like, how can parents have their kids learn their math at home in spite of themselves?
There are so many different ways that you can incorporate math into what you do in your everyday life during the summer. So the first thing I really thought of, I had a memory of when my daughter was in grade school, and she loved to take all the colored beads and make beaded necklaces and bracelets. And so she would create patterns, and we would talk about the patterns, or we would make fractions out of the colors in the beads. You could be outside on a walk and identify all kinds of different geometric shapes and parallel and perpendicular lines. A lot of families are doing minor home repairs right now. So maybe bring your child in when it's time to measure the length and the width, or find the area of something. Math lends itself very well to cooking and baking. So you can do conversions. You could say, like, this takes a half of cup. If I doubled that recipe or tripled that recipe, how much would I need? Shopping, maybe your child is saving money to purchase something. So, estimate, add and subtract, multiply. It's super easy to incorporate math into everyday living. But along with that, are games. So if you're playing chess or Monopoly, you're probably involving some higher level thinking skills. But I think provided in the links at the end of this, I have a whole slideshow of games. And so that'll be a resource that will provide many games that you could play as a family.
I love the idea of, finding math all around you. You don't have to have the computer or the internet all the time, or even a flashcard or a timetable test that you're taking. It could, there are ways to kind of incorporate it in there. I like it. It's like sneaking the vegetables, into the brownies or the soup or whatever. Okay, so do we have something, a resource that students can access at home that we also use at school? Or
we have a wonderful resource, and most of the parents are probably familiar with the Bridges Math Learning Center, because especially in this past year, they probably used a lot of the digital apps. So maybe they wanted fraction pieces or a geo board or money. They're used to going there and using that. But there's another tab that's called Math at Home. And if they go to that section, there are three things that I love about that section. First, there's a practice book, and it goes right along with our program. So if there's a parent that wants those extra worksheets, they can print them off. There's an answer key. They're good to go. They also created many of the workplace games that we use at school in a digital format, so they can play those games at home. And then finally, the thing that I think I love the most is, for every unit in Bridges, they have probably about 12 different questions, and they're those open-ended, which one doesn't belong, would you rather, what comes next, what do you notice? So there are many, many correct answers, and some of them in each section are at-home activities. So it really gets kids thinking, but it's about real life things that you would think about at home. So lot of great things at the Math at Home tab.
So are any of these resources, are there other grade levels included in that?
Yes, this is K to 5. So you could even differentiate. Let's say your child is lagging and you would really like to use some of those questions, but the 4th grade ones are too hard. They could bump down to 3rd. 4th graders could bump up to 5th. It's K to 5. It's free. There's no code. It's out there for anyone.
Okay, so that is really helpful. And I think that's good that there are so many different ways of doing this, whether it just be, walking around outside, like we said, or, practicing a flashcard, or going online, or looking at the Bridges resources, because we know kids might tend to get maybe a little bored with things. So it's a good way to switch it up. So far, we have really focused on math readiness for our students who are rising from 3rd into 4th grade. And we shared some resources and all of our ideas, not only for those students, but for students that are maybe entering 5th grade, they can use those resources, or even in the lower grades, they can use those Bridges resources. But I want to switch gears for a few minutes and talk about something else. And that's that all-important transition from elementary school to intermediate school, or in this case, from Falls-Lenox to Olmsted Falls Intermediate School. So, Mr. Svec, you're on. This is your moment. Are you ready?
I don't know, Julianne. I'm not sure, but what I do know is this: is that when you think of the intermediate building, I want you to think of it as a bridge from Falls-Lenox to the middle school. So it's a short time. You're only here for 2 years, but in those 2 years is when a lot of changes start to occur. When 3rd graders come over to OFCS, the first thing they're going to notice is they have more than one teacher. It's either going to be a team of 2 teachers and the kids flip back and forth between those 2 classrooms, or it's going to be a team of 3 teachers and they rotate around between those 3 classrooms. But here's the thing, they move as a group. They move as one whole class, so they stay together as a class throughout the day. So at Falls-Lenox, they don't switch classes at all, for the most part. And at the middle school, every 50 minutes, the place goes crazy. So we have kind of like the bridge, or an in-between feel, an intermediate approach. You're also going to notice that kids have lockers when they come to the intermediate building. They didn't really have, they might have had a hook or possibly a locker in the classroom, but they shared that locker oftentimes with other students when they're in 3rd grade. But when you come to 4th grade, you get your own locker. And typically the lockers are so big, 4th graders have no clue what's on the shelf. They can't even see that high. But we start to teach them how to manage their spaces, their storage, manage their supplies. And in 4th grade, there's no locks. Mostly they keep the majority of their stuff in their desks. And then as they transition to 5th grade, they start to take less stuff and keep it in their desks and put it in their lockers, to the point where eventually, and in May of their 5th grade year, they're not using their desks at all. They're using their lockers solely, and now they have a lock on their locker. And so we try to kind of transition them from using your desk only to using your locker totally, because that's the difference between Falls-Lenox and the middle school. So there's several other differences that you would notice right away, or that you could use to describe what life's like at OFCS. But I think if you just think of it as the bridge from Falls-Lenox to the middle school, in just about every aspect of school life, that will give you a feel for what to expect.
4th and 5th grade is also the first year where kids get letter grades. And so it's such a great time for kids to learn. The grades don't necessarily affect the rest of their life, but it's such a great time to learn how to be a student, and that anything that you do should be done well, and it all affects your grade. And so it's a great time to really kind of learn how grades happen. So when it does start counting, sometimes kids in 8th grade, their grades start going toward their GPA, and certainly in high school. So it's the first year for grades, and we all go slow, and we try to explain everything at the beginning of the year, because that's a big jump too.
Sure.
Yep, good point. I will say I agree with you, Mr. Svec, about it, the bridge between, the elementary and the middle school. That the way that those kids come in as 3rd graders going into 4th, when they are ready to leave your building, that, I don't know, the transformation. Well, I mean, I will say that at the end of 5th grade, it's like, okay, go on. They're ready. They need to go. Right? Like, nope. You're done. You're done with intermediate. You guys have you have the best 2 years, I think.
And the general progression from what the rigor looks like as an incoming 4th grader, academic rigor, it's a slower pace when they first come here as old 3rd graders, young 4th graders, and then gradually through 4th grade, the expectations become a little bit greater. And then when they get to 5th grade, the rigor, the difficulty, the speed at which new concepts are introduced starts to increase a little more as well. So we're trying to take them from, where they are as 3rd graders to where they need to be as 6th graders. And so that happens again, just in all aspects of the program, whether it's academics, whether it's different opportunities outside the classroom. So I really think you're right. You're right, Julianne. It is a great age. It's a great opportunity. And I'm just hoping that, kids that come through here, look back and really enjoy their time.
Okay, so I'm thinking about this. I'm trying to put myself in the position of a 3rd grade parent. I'm finishing up school, and my kid is very nervous about going to OFCS. It's bigger. It's a different building. I have to change classes, even though we know that we guide them, and there are a lot of anxieties that could come along with that. And I don't, it might be hard for someone to say, oh, let's get ready to, to go to school and we'll practice our math, facts, and read if the kid is very nervous. So Sierra, how can parents help their incoming 4th graders be socially and emotionally ready for that transition?
Well, you kind of hit the big kind of target word that is one of the ones that we deal with the most, and that's the anxiety of switching the buildings. I'm so happy that this year we were able to do like a modified 3rd grade visit so they could come up and see the building already, because I think that helps with it a lot. But you know what? Talking with your child throughout the summer and sending that positive message, whether it's positivity about math, whether it's positivity about reading, or whether it's just positivity about school in general, it makes a big difference. Talking to them about, you're going to switch classes. That's exciting. Like, put that positive spin on it in your own, instead of like, okay, well, you need to make sure you have everything. Like, as a parent, don't dwell on like every little thing that they need. Because like you said, we guide them through that. We help them through that. So that like positive spin on it makes a really, really big difference for the kids who are coming in. The other 2 kind of big things that I think we kind of discussed were responsibility and routines, because those are big things that they will kind of be introduced to a little bit more and need to focus on. And starting even at the beginning of August, even setting like a chore chart so you can work chores into school. It's great. And having them like write it down like they would their homework in an assignment notebook. And when they finish, check it off. So they get in the habit of writing down what they need to do, knowing where it's at to know what they need to do, and completing it really helps kind of get them into the swing of things. And there's a lot of really good resources out there. I know we've talked about some of those before. Scholastic has a parent site that has a whole bunch of different things. So not just like books and activities they can do, but there's a lot that's filled with the social emotional side and different conversations you can have, different books that go along with it, different activities you can do. There's also a site called Counselor Chelsea. If you Google that, or we'll provide the link, and she has a bunch of summertime activities that you could do as a family to kind of work on some of those skills. And those are great tools, because those 3 things are kind of the big 3 as you're getting ready to come into 4th grade.
And I would say some of the things you mentioned, I know like the Scholastic site, I've seen that they have a very good site. And I'm guessing this Counselor Chelsea as well. It doesn't maybe just apply to fourth graders, right? Or, it could be maybe for younger grades or maybe even a little older.
Yeah, younger, older. I think it could go across the board because those skills are skills that we all still work on. I still work on my anxiety and my responsibility when things are busy, it's tough.
And maybe that is a good reminder too. It's okay. Maybe one thing that we could do is if our child is anxious or, about it, I was really nervous when I had to start my new job and I had to go, to a new building and I didn't know where they were going to put me. I didn't know where I was going to sit, maybe just, normalizing that experience. Like, hey, going to a new place is a little scary sometimes, but look, we've got all these great people there that are going to help you and friends and this and that. If we notice as a parent, let's just say, my kid is not school's going and they still seem to not be doing very well, emotionally or struggling socially, what should we do?
I think the most important thing is the communication. A lot of times kids will hold it together pretty well at school and go home and then just everything goes. And we don't see that side of things. So it's really important to have that two-way communication with parents. There's not a teacher in this building who doesn't want a parent to send them an email, give them a phone call to talk to them about their students. And creating a plan that goes from home to school and is like cohesive across the board is so much better than two plans that kind of work together but might not. Like, it's so much better if we can all work together and we're all on the same page, and that collaboration between the parents and the teachers is priceless. And we also have Mrs. Schmid, who is an amazing counselor, and she goes out of her way to talk to students, to make small groups based on needs and to help the kids just feel calm and comfortable. And we couldn't ask for a better counselor in our building. So she's wonderful, and reaching out to her is a great way to help with that also.
And I will add, just to reiterate the importance of reaching out to us, because there's no problem, there's no situation that honestly is too small. There's no information that we can't benefit from knowing. It's really important that you let your child's teacher know, you let Mrs. Schmid know, you can call me, the principal, and we will put our heads together and come up with a plan. And I really like what you said, Sierra, about, instead of having 4 different plans, let's have one that's collaboratively created between the school and home that can kind of bridge that school-home gap, so it's consistent, because that's the one thing kids are missing out on. And the one thing that causes most anxiety is inconsistency. When it's a difference, every day is different. And with this whole pandemic, we've had so much inconsistency inherently, part of school that the anxiety is at its highest level probably that we've ever seen it. So all this is exceptionally important. And the key thing, just to go back to what Sierra said, is communication. Make sure we're all on the same page. And we'll do the same thing. We might be noticing something here at school that you might not be seeing at home. And it's inherent upon us to reach out to you as well and make sure that we can work together as a team to create a better experience for our kids.
I think that's very important for parents to hear all of you talking about this stuff, because sometimes it's hard to reach out and say, I need help, or I'm noticing this behavior. Is this happening at school? Because of course we all want our kids to just be okay and to be happy and to be their best selves. And sometimes there's that's a struggle. So I think it's important to know that you want parents to call you if they're seeing something or hearing, because you may not see that at school. I think that is probably pretty common to have kids that can kind of get through things and then things kind of fall apart later. So
I get some emails sometimes with a parent saying, I don't want to be that mom or that dad. But it is truly important to be that mom or that dad, because that's a caring mom or a caring dad or a concerned mom or a concerned dad. And your kid is the most important thing. So yes, send that email, ask that question, Like that's what we're here for.
When a kid feels safe and happy and confident, it's so much easier for everything else to fall in place. So that's, our number one too.
Yeah, I have to agree that I think we teachers at OFCS, and I'm sure district-wide would agree as well, that we try very hard to make connections and make those kids feel wanted and loved, and then everything else falls in place, and the year is wonderful when they love coming to school and seeing you. And so yeah, that's super important to us.
Those are great points. And I see that with my own children who are older now, but if they're able to connect with a teacher or teachers, just the difference that makes with their learning. They want to learn, they want to be there. And really at OFCS, and I'm not just saying this, Mr. Svec, this, OFCS is a very special place. You do a fabulous job there, all of you, of really making kids feel important and empowering them. And I'm just very grateful that you're here today. I'm not going to cry. I'm just okay. So today we talked about a lot of resources and ideas for intermediate school age students, focusing mostly on math. But I don't want the parents that are watching this to think that we don't care about other grades or other subjects. So I just want to make sure I let you know that be on the lookout for grades K to 5, and it's going to be called Slide into Summer. And we'll, like I said, everything we talked about today, and we'll have other resources from some ECC teachers, Falls-Lenox teachers, and more OFCS teachers. So I want to thank the teachers who did send me their suggestions and recommendations for keeping our kids learning all summer long without them necessarily even realize that they're getting smarter. So our time is about up, and I forgot to mention a very important thing. So Bulldog parents, look at me. This is for you. It's completely okay if you don't want to feel particularly motivated to do anything school related this summer. I completely understand. I'm guessing our teachers and our principals do too. You should celebrate everything that your child learned this year, because somehow, some way, we have basically made it to the end here, and it was a rough go for all of us. Enjoy the time away. Our teachers need that. Our administrators need that. Our students need that. Our parents need that. But let's say it's raining outside, or the kids are bickering, or wrestling around, or they're whining that they're bored. Well, that might be an opportune time to, think about some of these math games and activities that we talked about, or read a book with your child. Sneak in some of these learning opportunities disguised as fun, and then you'll be good to go. I know we all love school, but this year must end. Okay, it needs to be done, and we need to go on our trips, and we need to take a deep breath. And yes, we'll do a little bit of learning along the way. So with that, I want to thank you all for sharing your knowledge and your expertise and your time with us. And I hope you had fun.
Yeah, thank you, Julianne. I appreciate you hosting this event. I think it's going to hopefully go over positively with the community.
Thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh, great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, have a wonderful summer. Thanks, Julianne. Bye, everyone.
This is our last episode of season 1 of Link Up. But good news, I just got word we have been renewed for season 2. No, that is not true. Oh, we haven't been canceled. Don't know about the renewal. I'm just going to keep coming back and doing this until someone drags me out and says I can't do it. So we haven't been canceled. So I'm staying positive and saying that we will be back. I want to say thank you to my fellow Bulldog parents and caregivers for everything you did all year long to support learning at home. This was a real partnership this year, I think, between school and home. We had to kind of lean on each other to get through. So thank you for everything that you did. And thank you to all of our teachers, administrators, our support staff for keeping our buildings open, our buses on time, our lunches served, and young minds engaged, safe, and happy. Lastly, I want to know what you thought about what you saw today. So if you could email me, ofcslink@ofcs.net, or you could tweet me at OFCSlink on Twitter. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. Enjoy your summer, and don't forget your SPF. Goodbye, everybody.